pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, in your packet, you have the minutes from June 23rd of 2025. If you take a moment to look over them, see if you have any additions and or deletions. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
A motion to approve.
Motion's been made,
Second.
properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are passed unanimously. At this time, we'll call on Brent for our Historic Zoning Commission and Common Design Review Board cases.
Thank you. First case today is DDR 12-2025. It's the application of Elizabeth Norton with the agent of Law Cook Martin Architects. Reason for the request is facade renovation of existing building at 312 Franklin Street. Option 1 is to keep the existing brick. Option 2 is to stain the existing brick to a red-brown historic finish as shown on the color board. If option 2 is selected, agent to schedule the design review coordinator for review and approval of stain color sample for property located at 312 Franklin Street. And the structure located at 312 Franklin Street is on your screen. For many of you, this will probably look familiar. We have a prior approval on this case with a different applicant and different architect for May 23rd, 2022. At that time, replacing the windows and doors, adding awnings, and putting a sandstone panel wall in between this little alley between the two buildings was approved. The application today is similar, and it will be adding an awning. They'll be adding a gate in between the alley, replacing the windows and the door. However, the windows will be extended down closer to the ground with a stone sill at the bottom. The lower half of the added windows will be a fixed window unit. The top half will be an operable window unit. And as I mentioned in the description, applicant is kind of throwing it to the board as far as staining the brick. It's the brick color here is be a red-brown historic color, and then the stone color options, as well as the gate at the top, and then the window trim on the bottom left there. The staff comments, one y'all become familiar with: brick shall not be painted unless it is extremely mismatched or so deteriorated that it cannot resist moisture penetration. If painting is necessary, the natural color of the brick shall be used. And I will answer any questions of the staff if there are any.
Is there any questions for Brent? Yes, Kurt.
What's the purpose of the staining?
I'll defer to the architect on that.
Okay.
Any other questions for the staff? Seeing none, we will now open the public hearing for case number DDR-12-2025. If you are anyone in favor, speaking first. In opposition, will speak after that. You'll have 3 on each side. If you'd like to speak in favor of it, please come forward, state your name and address. You will have 3 minutes. You are on a cell phone timer, so when you hear the buzzer at 3 minutes, that means your time is up. Please try to wrap it up as quick as possible.
All right, thank you. I'm Brad Martin, Lyle Cook Martin Architects, representing Liz Norton and Sean Clymer back there in the back. Thank you for wanting to renovate a downtown Clarksville project. So I think you've seen it all. It's probably the simplest thing I've presented to this board in years. So I'm not gonna, and you did a great job presenting it. So I'll just address the brick. We would like not to do anything to the brick, but the brick is really ugly, in our opinion. I mean, that picture probably doesn't do the ugliness justice. I think was probably done in the 70s. I don't know exactly. So the thought is, by staining it with a breathable masonry stain, not paint, because you want moisture to come and go as it does in normal brick, we would try to capture the spirit of the downtown red clay circa 1880s brick. That's the concept behind it. That's the only reason to do it. I think Brent did a great description of extending the windows down toward the floor, the awning and so forth. I will say this, they are setting this up for a lease building. That wasn't my 3 minutes, was it?
No, that was,
So the gate on the side, if a restaurant or some sort of coffee shop or something comes in, we thought it would be really neat to punch some openings in the side of that building and have like some indoor-outdoor seating along that alley area. Therefore, we needed a gate or something right there, but that has a whole another design opportunity that we're not even showing here. We're not even exploring yet, so. Any other questions?
any questions for Brad? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak in favor of case DDR-12-2025? Please come forward. Anybody else in favor? Seeing none, anybody else in opposition of case DDR-12-2025? Anyone in opposition? Seeing none, we will now close the public hearing for case number DDR-12-2025.
We'll just make mention, since the reason for the request was kind of options, that in the motion for approval that it's stated
Option one or option two,
to
we should
stain the
say.
brick or not to stain.
So our motion should be to approve, and whether it be option one or option two. Is that correct, Brent?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, that will work.
Does anybody have any other questions? Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Yes,
that
ma'am.
We accept this as presented, and that the brick would be stained.
So option number two.
I guess so.
Yes.
Okay,
that's
option
right.
two.
That is option two, correct, Brent?
That's correct.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. Motion's been made and properly seconded. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Thank you, sir.
Okay, next case, just want to explain DDR 13 real quick. I found out 20 minutes ago that this case is actually not in the downtown design overlay, so a severe oversight on my part. Do want to apologize to the applicant, engineers that are here. This case is not in the downtown overlay or the Madison Street overlay, so it will not be heard today.
Oh, okay.
Just the couple buildings on South Seventh that don't front Madison Street are not in the district.
Correct. Yep, that's correct.
But we did have the building next to CDE that came before us, so that was
That's
probably
correct,
what.
yep.
That was on that.
Confusion.
Yeah, and this is adjacent to that.
Yeah.
We apologize, and we're
Yeah.
gonna refund the applicant, their money, and, it still does have to go to the planning commission because it is a triplex, but it does not require design review.
Okay, so with that being said, final case today is MSCD 25-2025. It's the application of Todd Morris with the agent of McKay Burchett and Company. Reason for the request is request to vary from the Madison Street design guidelines and allow the proposed building to be located approximately 70 foot from the front property line, and also to allow for parking in the front. Request concept site plan approval only for property located at 1979 and 1983 Madison Street. Those two properties are highlighted in blue on your screen, and they do fall in the Beach Haven Barksdale subdistrict, which requires a 5-foot minimum, 30-foot maximum setback for new construction. This is looking into 1979 and 1983 Madison Street. 1983 Madison Street had a structure which has already been torn down, and O'Neill's remains, but assuming approval is given today, it will be tore down as well. Next photo's looking with Madison Street running north-south on the screen back toward downtown, where you can see the adjacent buildings to the site we're looking at today. And then the final one looking straight down onto the site, leading into the site plan. And this site plan is in your packet, to where you can see the 5-foot minimum, 30-foot maximum setback, which this sub-district calls for, to see the kind of the building envelope of where the building should sit by ordinance. And also mentioned in the description, all parking should be to the side and rear of new new construction along Madison. And we'll point out while we're here, we're not approving the site plan, just the variance only today. So landscaping, you know, the drive-throughs as it's shown, it's not going to be approved today. It will come through site plan later if the variance is approved. Staff comments, as I mentioned, the Beach Haven Barksdale Subdistrict has a 5-foot minimum, 30-foot maximum front setback for all new construction, and surface parking shall be located to the side and rear of buildings and screened from streets and sidewalks. Further, the staff recommends disapproval of this request. This property falls in the Hilldale planning area of the comprehensive plan, which recommends parking to the side and rear of structures and to enforce the existing development standards. And I will answer any questions of the staff if there are any.
Does anybody have any questions for the staff?
I have a question.
Okay.
I know you probably said this, how much variance does he need?
It would be roughly 40 foot.
40 foot?
The building is shown on the site plan is about 70, and they're allowed 30-foot maximum.
30 foot?
So they're allowed 30, but they want 40.
They want
Correct.
40 more.
They want 70.
70.
They
They
want
want, yeah,
70.
What was
40 on top of
72?
the
You
30.
mentioned 72 before, I thought. No? Okay.
It's around 70.
What
so-
is it now?
I would assume it's close to, you're referencing O'Neill's.
Yeah.
I would assume it's close to that 70, maybe a little further back.
Okay.
Haven't we gave variance before on Madison Street?
Have for Whataburger, I know Dutch Brothers, the new one that came in, pulled up to that 30-foot. That's the only two I can think of that have been developed in sub-districts that have different setbacks. We've had a lot of new development in the highway sub-district, which reverts to the base zoning.
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Why does he want the setback to be so far back?
I'll defer to the agent or
Thank you.
applicant or engineer on that.
Okay.
One more question.
Yes.
What is, I know that's the strip mall across the street next to the Walgreens. What is, it's obviously got a big parking lot, so it's got a much bigger variance. We obviously must have granted, or was that before?
Correct, and that's what I was gonna say. A lot of the surrounding and a lot of what you see out there is existing.
Okay. That's what I was
or
gonna ask.
predating the Madison Street ordinance.
So basically, they're trying to keep it as close to the existing as the old structure.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
I just measured it on stratum, and the engineers may have it more fine-tuned. Forgive my fat fingers, but it looks like around O'Neill's right now from the front of the building, not the front of the patio, is 90 feet.
9 feet. Okay.
Right now from the right-of-way. The patio is around 70 feet for reference,
So
so.
it'll be around the patio, okay.
It'll be around the patio. Similarly, in residential, I think it's more of a residential rule, but we have a rule also that, you know, you should respect the setback that's already established with existing buildings. And you can see 3 buildings just on this aerial that are already around 50 to 60 feet off the road. So there's already some other precedent set for lower, you know, we haven't had too much new construction at that 5 to 30, as Brent mentioned, the 2, the Whataburger being up on the hill, so that was a little difficult to accommodate that there, but the Dutch Brothers did come in there.
Okay.
But again, you're being asked today just, this is so the applicant can then know what to expect and then prepare a site plan that will comply and then bring it back for all the other requirements with the planning, zoning, and the design guidelines. So just deciding on the setback today.
So I take it that this building is already sitting there, or he's gonna knock this building down and rebuild?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Any other questions for the staff? Seeing none, we will now open the public hearing for case MSCD-25-2025. If anybody would like to speak in favor of it, please come forward, state your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes. And again, when the buzzer goes off, it's off my cell phone, so.
Good afternoon. My name is Todd Morrison. We're applying for the variance on this building. Main reason, parking. The new building will basically be, if they could bring that picture back up, the front of the building will be where the front of the deck is now. So you can imagine it going straight across. Strictly for parking purposes. When you put the buildings on the road, they're almost impossible to lease because nobody wants it. I think we have a down the road, the CVS or something that's the Rite Aid that's not even in business anymore was jammed up next to the road, and it's not in business anymore. So it's strictly parking. We did a drawing based on the rules with the building all the way on the road, and every bit of parking would be in the back. It just doesn't make sense as a builder, developer to jam it up against the road, knowing that nobody's gonna really be interested in wanting to rent it. So we're just asking for a variance for parking purposes only.
Any questions for Mr.
I
Morris?
have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. What type of franchise or building is this gonna be?
So it'll be a strip center.
Oh, a strip center, okay.
And obviously, we have to bring it before the board to, get approval on what we can do, but, I've been looking at stuff, and it won't be just a box. I mean, we're gonna try to really make the front of it look better than anything on Madison Street. But we're kind of one stepping at a time here, so if we don't get the variance, we'll just leave the old building there and we go on about our business.
Any other questions? Any other questions? So my question is, yes, if you don't get the variance, what is your plans after that?
Pay taxes.
Pay taxes and leave it and try to rent it the way it is, I guess.
I mean, it's, the building's dilapidated, run down. I've owned it for years, and I've never had any insurance on it other than liability
Yeah.
because I can't get it.
Well, I know it was Level's Grocery Market way
It
back.
was, yeah.
Was it anything prior? When was that building built? Do you have any clue?
I remember going to Levels when I was a kid, so it had to have been there 60, 65 years at least.
So it's a pretty old building.
Yeah. Been a few bars, restaurants, whatever along the way, but it's, I couldn't even check with multiple insurance companies, and I've literally just had liability on it. If it burned down, I got nothing but a vacant lot. I mean, it's in that bad of shape.
Any other questions for Mr. Morris?
What type of material you gonna use to build it,
It would be a variety of materials on the front. Obviously, some metal, wood, some drive-it probably. I would have somebody design
Oh, so you
the
don't
front.
have
It wouldn't be
design.
anything that, but like I say, we haven't started that yet because if we don't get the variance,
You don't
it's
have
not worth
to
spending
yet.
money.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions?
Mr. Morris, and just for the board's information, assessor says built in 1960, renovated in 87, 89. So that was the
Okay.
last effective year they got on that. Makes sense.
That would be a hickory stick.
Yeah.
Looking to the right and to the left, and even going more to the left towards where the Waffle House and all is, most of these buildings are 40, 42 feet off the road. Is 70 make it or break it, or can you do 40?
Well, I mean, 70's only 2 rows of parking. I mean, it's one just doesn't make sense because everybody would try to park up there. It would be a traffic issue in and out. Yeah, it's kind of 2 rows, or it doesn't make sense.
Personally, I just hate to keep designing around the automobile and then have another building that 70 years from now is still, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, that was built in 2025 because we still respected the automobile back then. But I'd love to see if there was something you could do with the design of the building instead of just building a rectangle and maybe try to get a little closer to the 40, which is kind of like you said, or like I said, you have CES there, some of the smaller buildings, the hotel, that's all. What you see on the screen right now, that's 40 feet just for reference, and your patio there is around the 70 feet, which is where you're looking at.
Yeah. And I'm not sure, but I think if you went 40, I don't know, this would be an engineering question, if you had 1 row of parking up front and then you had to back out and get out if somebody's pulling in, it's probably a traffic problem at that point.
What if you turn the building sideways? I guess you don't want a side-loaded strip mall. It probably doesn't make as much sense in the business, but
Visibility's kind of
yeah.
important.
All right,
I
thank
have
you.
one more.
Yes, ma'am.
How many doors do you plan to have on the strip mall? Just, I'm thinking about the parking, and so I'm trying to figure out how much parking do you need? How many doors or businesses do you plan to have in this strip mall?
Well, you never know that going in. I would love to say I have some pre-leased, and I don't. But if it's a grocery store, there's a lot, and it won't be a grocery store. It's not, if it's an attorney's office, it's not many. You just never know on the front end.
Do you think that you can build taller and have more space for parking if you build up more? Instead of building so wide, you can gain more parking spaces with
Well,
the 40 you were speaking?
Somebody other than me might be able to, but putting a strip center with upper level units doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I
I
was
mean,
just checking out the bank down here, what is that bank, where the, Main Street News people there, it's up and it has, you know, third floor businesses in there, all through there.
Yeah,
Different owners and.
a little different downtown stuff than on that side of Madison Street. Not saying that those type businesses aren't a prospect for going in, but I would, from starting at scratch, I would never go multi-level with
I was just
with
trying
one
to
of these
figure out-
buildings.
I was just trying to figure out
Yeah,
how
yeah,
to get
yeah. No,
more,
yeah, I
you
appreciate
know,
that.
more of a parking, maybe.
Any other questions for Mr. Morris? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak in favor of MSCD 25 2025? Anyone in favor, please come forward, state your name and address. Seeing none, is there anybody in opposition to MSCD 25 2025? Anyone in opposition? Seeing none, we will now close the public hearing for case MSCD 25 2025. Is there any other questions that we may have? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve with the 70 feet, but attempt to lessen the setback
During the process, they
during
can,
the process of
if you're able to. Is
moving forward, if you could.
there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. Is there any other discussion?
I have a question
Sure.
about what her motion was.
Mhm.
And you said, 70, you're approving the 70, but the, setback would be lesser, is that what you're saying? I'll just, can you break that clear for me, please?
Approve it at 70,
Uh-huh.
but if they could try to make it less, that
How,
would be
how
great.
much less, Ms. Gill?
Just whatever they can do,
What are we looking for in number? Cause I'm just saying.
Down to 40.
less than 70.
Okay.
Coming in at 69.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Any other business? The electronic messaging center signature?
Yeah, we'll do this quick, and I've got some air conditioner units on the way, so that's a good
Woohoo.
news. Good news for tomorrow, not today, unfortunately.
Thank you for bearing with the heat
Yeah,
today.
thank you. There was a part that got delayed till Wednesday, but I know we're gonna have a full room tomorrow. All right, this is a long time coming. If you remember, for those of you who were on the board, the Immaculate Conception Church, I think, asked you all to consider allowing them to have an electronic message center, and it was the sentiment of the board that you didn't want to do this one at a time or building by building, but you'd wanted to look at it for the entirety of Madison Street. This came on the heels of the school board as well as Gas and Water installing their own message centers. We started working on that in December of 23, believe it or not, when the Planning Commission initiated that based off of your December meeting. The initial recommendation from you all was relative to the use of LED digital bulletin boards for schools and churches within the Madison Street corridor. We said we weren't comfortable singling out individual uses, but would look after all the businesses on Madison Street. Since then, the city council gave us a small detour for a few months while we had to do the Fort Campbell and Tiny Town overlay districts, which is now up for second reading with city council. Those overlays prohibit, just like Madison Street, digital message boards on Fort Campbell and Tiny Town Road. What we're going to do with this ordinance, it allows for the use of electronic message centers in all overlay districts except for downtown and historic, and allows for some regulation of those on Madison Street, Fort Campbell, and Tiny Town. Basically, it allows you to use up to 50% of your sign allotment for a freestanding sign and up to 60% for a monument sign. Remember, monument signs can only be 30 feet, so you get 18 square feet for a monument sign. It's taken out of your total signage, and it can't be the only sign. So if you have a 50-foot sign on Madison Street, you can have up to 25 feet of message center and 25 feet of a normal sign incorporated above, below, next to it. For Fort Campbell, those numbers go up more because we allowed 100 square feet of signage on those because they're bigger roads. At this time, we're not touching anything on the highway districts or the Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway extension at this time. While that that's what this really has three parts. That's the first, which would be open up Madison Street, Tiny Town, and Fort Campbell to some electronic message centers. The second thing is the city has never put what I would consider curbs or guide rails on the use of message centers. And when they started allowing these things in the 90s, they probably should have passed a law then about what you should or shouldn't do with a electronic message center. Going off of best practices, and we've had a working group that also included someone from the National Sign Organization, signs.org, like a national think tank that works for sign companies, basically has blessed our ordinance and said, I don't love it all, but it is within the realm of what you can do as a local municipality. So I'll call your attention to the right side there. This would go in effect citywide, starting with that second bullet. And I'll read them off. Any new EMC, and that's electronic message center, must be 100 feet from a residential single-family structure. That's just to avoid spilling light into a single-family residence. I think we can all understand that. I can't actually find one out there that's not violating that, but it's just a good one to put in there. EMCs are only permitted in commercial zones or with institutional uses. Again, churches, schools, those things. You're allowed one per property frontage. If you have two frontages, you can go to the BZA and ask for a second one. This is where these next two bullets are where all the disagreement has come from the community. I guess the next three. Hold time. Right now, some signs are holding 10, 11, 12 seconds. Some are every 3 seconds. General rule of thumb, if you look at a billboard on the interstate, that is 8 seconds. They're regulated by state and federal laws, 8 seconds, and they can't have any animation or transition. It's just static image every 8 seconds. We're proposing 6 seconds because these are smaller signs intended for the advertisement of the business and service and products provided therein. And you have 3 seconds between those if you choose to use it for animation, transition, as long as it's not flashing, movies, moving GIFs or GIFs, depending who you are. You shall not use chasing, sequential, or running messages. So in other words, you can't put up on the sign like open tomorrow from 8 to 11, like all message on one message, one idea, basically. And signs must automatically dim at night or in inclement weather. We will have some in this town that can't do it because they probably are not UL listed or they're so old they probably need to be replaced anyway. So where we are with some of the property or business owners is that they're okay with the 6 seconds typically, but they want to animate all 6 seconds. And in my research today and last week, it's all over the place. There's research that says message signs don't contribute to accidents or distracted driving. There's ones that say they absolutely do. The rule of thumb, though, for almost every organization is you should leave it still as long as possible. I believe we've allowed some movement. Much like PowerPoint, these signs have a program that runs them, and some of these business owners may have to get back in there and tweak the numbers and the seconds and the minutes and all that of how it's done. And I'll answer any other questions on that in a moment. And then the third part is what code department said they didn't have anything about site lighting. So this deals with, we have a certain line of businesses in the community that like to put floodlights out into the street and into the parking lot. This would make sure that any lighting, security, parking, or advertising lighting needs to be directed down. No light spillage or light pollution onto other properties or into the right-of-way. And then we just added last month that any lighting in the windows can't be chasing, flashing, or strobing to just hopefully cut down on that. We can't eliminate rope lighting from windows. I'm not ready to do that quite yet, but it shouldn't flash, change, move, or appear to be moving. So that will also help the code department address some of those individual users out there that choose to advertise in those manners. You can have a public hearing on this. This will go forward to the Planning Commission tomorrow and forward to City Council on Thursday, depending what the Planning Commission does. Again, opens up Madison Street to some form of this. Oh, and I forgot to mention one more thing. We have, on Madison Street, you'll have some businesses that have the changeable message signs with the individual letters. We are letting businesses that have those convert that to an electronic message center as long as it is less than the 25 square feet or the size it currently is if it's less than 25. So if you had a 20 square foot one, you can replace it with 20 square foot of message center. If you're at 30 or 40 square feet, you can come down to 25 square feet. So there's plenty of fast food restaurants that have those signs. Some are using them, some are not. Those letters aren't even available anymore from what I've understood from the companies. They don't even make them. And this is the wave of the future. I expect more and more signs to go this direction as the technology gets cheaper and better. So no time like the present to have some regulations citywide before it's all like Las Vegas. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Does anybody got any questions for
I
Mr.
just got
Tindall?
one.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Tindall, do you have an example of one that way it should look, of something that we can look at? You know,
I am
on
putting
our-
together a presentation for City
Okay,
Council.
that'd be great. That'd be great.
Anybody have any other questions? Eric, are you asking a question?
No, I'm just thinking.
Okay.
So are we approving it today? Is that what we're doing?
You can provide any guidance, and this goes forward to the Planning Commission with your recommendation.
Is there any other guidance that you would like to
It's,
see, or somebody like to make?
Just like City Council takes Planning Commission into account, the Planning Commission should take this board's
I know
opinion
y'all
and
been
vote
working
into
really
it.
hard on it. I mean, I know it's been a pain in the
Yeah.
ass for
I
y'all.
make a motion to support.
Motion to approve as is?
Motion to support, to
Yep.
approve and support.
Second?
Is that what you're looking for?
I don't know if we had to open up the floor, but I don't see anyone here. You can ask if anyone's here who wants to
Would
speak.
anybody here like to speak in favor of the electronic message center signage? Anybody like to speak in favor, please come forward. Seeing none, would anybody like to speak in opposition? Anyone like to speak in opposition? Seeing none, we will close this quasi-public hearing and other things. And we do have a motion and a second. Is there any other
Was
discussion?
Kirk was the main motion?
Yes.
Okay. Seconded by,
Eric, I think?
Second.
okay.
Yeah. Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. And then under other business, we had a few topics that wanted Mr. Tyndall maybe to catch us up on, the Brennan Building and the Catholic Church over there, building that, by the Catholic Church that has changed a little bit.
I'll let Brent fill you in. I'll fill in on the church first because I got to run outside and meet the guys about the air conditioner, and then you can fill them in on the Brennan building. So last month, within the 60-day limit, as provided by our ordinance, the Catholic Church with their attorneys out of Nashville filed for an appeal to the Planning Commission, alleging that you erred on your decision to tear down the building on Franklin Street next to the diocese out there. The Planning Commission held more of a hearing. It wasn't a public hearing like a zoning case, and they questioned staff. Staff gave them all the info. They had the minutes, they had the packet, they had the letters from the attorney and from the church, and they asked a lot of questions. A lot of them revolved around, is the building on the registry? Is it in a historic district? Is it historic? Revolving around that. They did ask the church a few questions, but it wasn't, the church wasn't able to make a case, if you will. There was like, here, answer this question. It was held much like a court case. But ultimately, when it was done, the Planning Commission did vote to overturn the decision of the Common Design Review Board and to allow it to be demolished at some point. If you've been by there in the last week, you'll notice the trees have been pulled out already, which I think is the worst part of all of it. I hate it for that. I don't like that process, and I hate to have both boards at odds with each other, but that is the process that's built in, and that was their decision. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have on that.
Anybody got any questions for Mr. Tyndall? But we just felt we need to be updated on that as well.
I will say, as we go forward with our downtown and historic guidelines, we're going to provide better guidelines on the process and what should be evaluated and shouldn't be evaluated when these type of cases do come up. All right.
Okay, Brent?
Yes, sir.
And this is on the Brennan building that had the picture on the side next to it, and they painted the brick white. Well, the building next to it is what he's doing.
Correct. The Tap This case last month, if you recall in some of the photos, it had a blonde brick building in between Tap This and the Poston building. It was a week or so after the meeting last month that we started noticing paint to go up on that building. Notified the code department. They put a stop work order on that project at that time. I have been contacted by the lessees who were doing the work. They have applied. They didn't meet the deadline this month, so that case will be heard at the end of August.
But it's already painted. They continued to finish painting it after you asked them to stop, is my understanding. Is that correct?
That would be codes department. They put the stop work order. It did appear, I got sent a picture from a resident of, looked like the stop work order was up and there was a guy out painting at night. So,
Yes, that's what I've been hearing.
yeah.
So I don't,
So that's just an update. That case
Yeah.
will be before you next month.
I don't know if there's anything to do to stop this, but I mean, it's clearly they were here the last time and not just, I don't like the way that occurred, in my personal opinion. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I just have, what is the address of this building?
124 Public Square.
Right next door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there any kind of stand that we need to do or anything on them, or just see how it flows? And, I mean, that should be a big smack on the hand for,
I'll defer to Mr. Gregory with codes on that. I'm not sure. I have heard from a few board members, and I don't want to speak too much because I don't want to get into a deliberation without, you know, the case being before you. But
Are they?
I'll defer to Mr. Gregory on the, as far as how they cited them.
Yeah, they would actually have to go to court in order to do the $50 a day that was passed through city council.
Do you cite them though while they're pending a hearing though, or do you wait for the
Yes.
hearing? You will?
Yes.
Okay.
And I did do the stop work order on it. And they did continue to paint, which I was notified like 2 days later.
so,
Stop work order was what, about 2 weeks ago maybe?
It was the day I was notified, it was probably like, yeah, I guess it was 2 weeks. Yeah.
so in order to get the $50 a day,
I would need to take them to court,
so it's not just an automatic?
yes.
Okay.
So what's the policy on that? You're not, or you are? or-
Well, I did not take them to court because I told them that they need to come through the board to get approval, just like I did with the neighboring property.
Yeah. Painting is such a tough one when it comes to daily citations because it's not something you can easily reverse.
Right.
If you got an illegal sign up, you can take it down. You got an illegal business in there, you can stop it until you get approvals. But when you paint something, there's really
Yes.
no going back, and that's why
Right.
painting, especially of and this is the historic zone. This isn't even just the downtown design. This isn't some building on Riverside that's only been around since the 70s. This building is incredibly old, and in one of our few historic districts. As you know, a lot of downtown, when we think it's in a historic district, really isn't.
Right.
So it's a shame it happens in the first place, but it's almost irreversible.
correct.
I don't know how Judge Smith would take that into account. I wish there was a different type of fine for painting, but I don't think legally the city can do that per the charter or state rules. I see Zach nodded with me over there. But and the worst part of all of it is reversing a paint job is incredibly damaging to the building. So you already have a historic building that shouldn't have been painted. Now you're going to take the paint off and damage that brick and mortar even further. So
I don't think it could
we're
handle
just
it.
stuck in a rock and a hard place, and it seems to be the method, I'm trying to choose my words here, recently to ask for forgiveness. So we'll leave it at that. But you will hear this next month, and you will have your opportunity to chime in, and you'll have the rest of Mr. Brennan's paperwork, and he's provided some interesting back and forth with his client that he did tell them to talk to us first. So we'll handle that next month. I don't want to deliberate that anymore this month.
So there are no repercussions for someone that does anything like that?
No, sir.
Will it be in the new regs? Or will it have to
I'd have
be
to
a take
talk
to
to her.
court?
I don't know
event?
how you retro things like that. That's something we'll have to talk about.
Yeah. Is there anything we can do if we approve this when they come in the next meeting to have a little repercussion for what they did?
We'll talk to Zach.
Yeah,
I know
let
what you're
us
getting
know.
at. We'll talk to the legal department.
Be a little cautious in giving advice
Yeah,
in a public setting. Right?
yeah, okay. That's, if you can research that, and
Be glad to.
that'd be perfect. Any other questions on? Yes, ma'am.
When the stop order work was put in, is that the day you start charging $50 a day?
We just make them stop work.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
it's not-
same day, is that the day that they start, adding the $50 to them?
No, I'd have to take them to court to.
If you were to take them to court,
Yes.
would that be the first day?
Again, painting is a difficult one to stop and say, oh, you're still painting.
Right, right.
So,
But
But-
my question, maybe I didn't ask it right. So
I think
when
I
you
know
put
what
the
you're trying
stop work order in, is that the day they're started the fine for them? Is that the day that, you can
No.
go to the court and tell them, this is the day we put the
No,
stop?
I just did a stop work to tell them to stop working.
Oh, okay. So when do you start charging $50?
I'd have to take them to court.
I understand that,
And
but
then Judge
when,
Smith
so
would do
how
that.
far do y'all go back, is what I'm saying? How do you?
I wouldn't make that call.
It would most likely be the date the court, the date that the court makes an order.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
There's notice requirements, there's hearing requirements, so that's, what he's saying is, you would have to go through all of those to get to that point.
Oh, okay, I
yes.
see. Thank you
Yes.
for
That
clarification.
makes sense.
Thank you.
I wanted to let you go a little bit.
Yeah. Any other questions? No more questions? I have one thing since you're up here as well. Going through the hospital stuff, Mr. Warner's name came up. That was the chair, which is fine, of the hospital. However, what brought that to my attention was, what that made me think about is next to my business at 212 Madison Street, that building there, he owns the old house that's there on that corner. And other than cutting trees for Mr. Bateman, who owns the building that we're in, they have done nothing. They have not done anything to enhance the improvement of that house, and it appears to me like another demolition by neglect. Have you guys looked at any of those buildings? I also have heard the Front Page Deli, there's no upgrades doing to those, and it's starting to dissimulate in there, and the gentleman that owns quite a few other buildings are not taking care of those. So-
212, I'm not aware of on Madison Street.
212 Madison, you know where the 212 Madison Street is on the corner of Madison and Third, next to the main post office, the brick building there with the white pillars. To the left of that building, if your back is to my building, or if you're coming from the museum and take the left turn around, the first house right there on that corner.
I think they're working on it, but I don't know of anything.
have never
It's not my area. I handle Wilma Rudolph, so I don't have any information on that.
But that is, can you get somebody to check on that demolition by neglect, see if they're at least moving
I do the
forward with that?
demos, but I haven't seen anything as far as demo work or anything for that.
Yeah, I haven't
property.
seen any activity on those. And if you could check on the Front Page Deli and some of those downtown buildings, whoever covers those, it would, and let us know if they're being taken care of or if.
Well,
they're
I'm
kinda
working
beyond
on the one on the front page just currently. It just come across us last week.
Okay,
so,
cool.
for a leak.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. That would be my only request, if
Okay.
you can look at that.
All right.
I would appreciate it.
yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And likewise with the downtown code update, we're gonna try to strengthen the demo by neglect in that ordinance. And it may require maybe a code ordinance update in the future, but I do think, it's time we get some teeth in the demo by neglect, in the city.
Anybody else got any questions on that vein?
I have to say, I did a click fix. I've been fussing for months about this house close to me and I did a click fix. It was fixed, taken care of, just like that. So
Good.
maybe we need to do more of that.
Yep,
Yes.
that's where they want you to
Yes,
do it.
yes.
If you see something, use their
Yep.
website.
Cool. Thank you, sir. Does anybody have any other comments? Seeing none, without objection, we'll adjourn.